Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty wild argument that one single battle, way back in the 7th century, might have actually shaped how some of Islam's most important texts were written, centuries down the line. It's a huge claim, so let's get right into it.
Okay, so this is our starting point. And according to the source we're looking at today, the answer to why this young warrior was given so much responsibility, well, it opens up a much, much bigger story. It's really a story about how history itself gets written and how one decision on a battlefield could send ripples through time for centuries.
So to really get the long-term impact, we have to go all the way back to that day. We need to understand the sheer scale of his role. And let me tell you, this wasn't some minor task he was given. He was put right at the absolute center of everything.
So what even is the raya? You got to think of it as way more than just a flag. Carrying it meant you were basically the field commander. You were the rallying point, the leader everyone looked to on the battlefield. It was a massive, massive responsibility. And get this, it wasn't just about carrying the banner. Look at this list. He was the lead scout. He secured the army's water supply, which is absolutely crucial. He was a champion in the one-on-one duels, and he was a key fighter in the main battle. We're talking about at least 6 major jobs all rolled into one. It just goes to show how incredibly important he was, even though he was so young.
Okay, so the battle is won, and Ali is a huge hero. But, and this is a big but, that victory came at a terrible price for the other side, the powerful Quraysh tribe of Mecca. And we're not just talking about a political loss here. No, this was personal.
Yeah, check out this number. Some sources claim he was personally responsible for killing up to 35 of the 70 enemy leaders who died that day. Let that sink in for a second. That's potentially half of their entire leadership. This wasn't just winning a fight. It was like taking the head off the snake. Now, of course, historians debate the exact number, but here's what's so telling. Even the lowest estimates, which often come from people who were critical of him, still say he killed at least 10. So, no matter how you slice it, everyone agrees he dealt an absolutely crushing blow to Mecca's ruling elite. So, what happens next? What are the ripple effects? Well, the fallout from Badr wasn't just about strategy or politics. It got tribal. It got familial. It basically kicked off a blood feud that wasn't going to be forgotten anytime soon.
You have to remember, we're talking about the biggest, most powerful families in Mecca, clans like the Bani Makhzum and Bani Adi. Suddenly, they have a very, very personal reason to hate one man. Their fathers, their brothers, their uncles, they were gone. And there was no mystery about who was responsible.
Okay, and this is where the whole story takes this fascinating, unexpected turn. We're about to jump forward in time. I'm talking a couple hundred years. We're leaving the dusty battlefield and heading into the quiet study of the scholar. Why? Because we're going to see how that old grudge might still be alive. So, before we go any further, we need a quick primer on Hadith. What are they? In short, they're the recorded sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad, and they are foundational. Right alongside the Quran, they're the bedrock of Islamic law, ethics, and, well, pretty much everything. Now, have a look at this timeline. This is so important. You see the battle way over on the left in 624, and then look how much later these famous Hadith collections were compiled. We're talking generations later. That huge gap in time is absolutely central to the argument we're digging into.
And boom, here it is. This is the core argument of the source material we're examining. It's claiming that some of the key people who were writing down and preserving Islamic history were the direct descendants of the men Ali killed at Badr. The idea here is that this old, bitter grudge might not have died out. It might have been passed down right into the hands of the historian.
Okay, that is a huge claim, right? So what's the evidence? What does the source actually point to in the historical records to back this up? Let's take a look.
So the argument zooms in on some really big names. These aren't obscure figures, they are foundational scholars. And it draws a direct line from their family tree, specifically to ancestors killed by Ali, to the work they produced. The suggestion is that this deeply personal family history might have colored their judgment, affecting what they decided to include or maybe what they decided to leave out.
And as a key example, the source puts 2 of the most famous Hadith collections side by side, Sahih Muslim and Sahih al-Bukhari. They were put together around the same time. But the argument is that if you look closely, you see a pattern in al-Bukhari's work. It seems to have fewer reports that speak highly of Ali, but it does include reports that praise his political rivals. And, interestingly, that same pattern just isn't there in Sahih Muslim. But maybe the most powerful piece of evidence, the real smoking gun, if you will, is this quote. It's from a narrator whose reports are actually included in Sahih al-Bukhari. And he just comes right out and says it, plain as day. I do not love him, Ali, because he killed my forefathers. Wow. I mean, you can't get much more direct than that. He's literally connecting his feelings about Ali directly back to that battle hundreds of years earlier.
So when you put it all together, the argument we've just walked through leaves us with this huge critical question. It forces us to ask, how does the story of the past change when we know who's telling it? It's a powerful reminder that history isn't just a list of what happened. It's a story told by people with families, with memories, and maybe even with ancient grudges.